What's up everybody? Welcome to the stock market. My name is Cory and today we had a very bullish day after we did get that strong bounce last week. We're already pushing to brand new all-time highs, so the question is how high are we going from here? First up, let's take a look at the S&P500 SPY ETF. So let's crack open this chart and see what's going on in the stock market today. Alright, so today on SPY we went up 0.88% and we did get a continuation of that strong bounce that we did start to see at the end of last week. Remember that SPY never did lose the bull trend, but we did spend a couple of days below our 20 simple moving average on the price action. We did see the bulls buying the dip just above that gap close at 436, and the rest is history. Today we see SPY going up to yet again another brand new all-time high, and we continue to see these V-shaped recoveries from these pullbacks. Remember, these pullbacks usually occur from my price targets, but they never actually turn into a stock market correction because we do still have such a strong bull trend. Eventually, this trend will end, but if you keep trying to call a top in the bull market, you're going to continue to get proven wrong time after time. It's extremely difficult to call a top in a bull market, so you're better off not even trying and just staying with the direction of the trend. I can assure you there will be plenty of time to get out of the stock market when it does finally roll over, so don't buy into that fear-mongering rug pull story time after time where people make it seem like the stock market just going to drop 10% overnight and you're going to get trapped in your positions. It's just simply not how bull markets die. It's a very slow process, and strong bull markets do not die easily. Right now, you need to start pointing your eyes to the next price target just above at 449. We could get to 449 to 450, and that could be the next major resistance before we come down to close this gap. We did open a gap today that won't close until we get back down to 443.7, and do remember that gaps typically get filled, so you'll want to watch that level closely. But right now, with such a strong bull trend and such strong bullish price action, don't just assume that gap has to get filled quickly. We still do have the potential to have support around 446 as well, and our strong critical support level at the 20 simple moving average is at 442. So watch those critical support levels very closely and understand this bull market does look like it wants to continue to go higher. We do see nice buying volume, and we simply just didn't get that high volume selling that it takes to get a stock market correction. So pay attention to the volume, because just like I said last week, a lot of that volume on Friday was buying the dip, and that's never going to be a bearish indication. So this market is still bullish, and if you're staying objective, you should be on the right side of this trade. We still have bullish price action and we still have bullish trending, so stay the course and remain a bull in this bull market. As we get to that next price target at 449 to 450, that will be another great place to start locking in some more of those profits from buying the dip and getting ready for a potential pullback. You're noticing the stock market cycles are starting to shorten, and we're getting a lot more quick volatility, which does tell us we are approaching somewhat of a top. We're getting a lot more volatility as we approach new all-time highs, and the market is starting to swing wildly. That could go away, but for the time being, you still need to be cautious because this is still going to be a volatile market. On the NASDAQ 100 QQQs, we were up 1.5% today, and again, we did gap up, and we did see a run all day long. We blasted right through that price target at 370, and we're well on our way to the next price target at 376. We closed outside the upper Bollinger Band, so we could go sideways or pull back a little bit until we can go any higher. We regained the full bull trend in the NASDAQ 100 QQQs, so we do have the benefit of a bullish trend yet again on the NASDAQ 100. Remember, when you have that bull trend, it is going to push the price action higher, so it does look like we are going to get to that next price target at 376. To the downside, you want to watch support at 370 and the gap close right around 368. Our strongest support, which is our 20 simple moving average, is now at 367, so watch that critical support level closely. Because we did see the price action blasting right through 370, it is very likely we're going to come back down and revisit that level and test it as support before we go any higher, so look for that potential pullback before we can go to that price target at 376. However, we do have a very strong bull trend with strong bullish price action, so if we continue to push higher, look for resistance at 376. On the Dow Jones, we were up 0.65% today, and again, the Dow Jones also opened a gap that will close when we get back down to 351.7. We also have strong support at our 20 simple moving average at that same exact support level. So watch that critical support, and just below that, we still do have support at 351. Again, we have the full bull trend in the Dow Jones, just like the S&P and the NASDAQ 100, so all three indices are going full bull at the same exact time. On the Dow Jones, look for resistance at 355, the previous all-time high just above 356, and our next price target at 359. On the Russell 2000, we were up 1.9% today, and again, we did gap up. To the downside, we'll fill that gap around 216, and we still do have the support trend line right around 217. To the upside, we're finding resistance right at that 20 simple moving average right around 220. We need to see the Russell 2000 breaking back over the 50 EMA at 221 to start reversing the bearish trend. Remember, the Russell 2000 is trying to fight off a bear trend and get out of a bear market, and in order to do that, we need price action back above 221, and we need to see these moving averages start crossing back over to the bull side. So the Russell 2000 is still bearish until it can close above 221. To the downside, look for that gap close at 216, and below that we have support at 215, 212, and our support trend line right around 210. On the ARKK ETF, we were up over 3% today, closing just below the 50 EMA. ARKK is fighting off the bear trend because if that 20 simple moving average crosses below the 50 EMA, ARKK will have a full bear trend. So look for very strong resistance on ARKK at 120, and if ARKK can break back above 120, that will be a bullish development. But for the time being, we do have the gap that just opened today that will get filled at 116, and we still do have support at 115.5 and 113.8. Watch those critical support levels closely because if we break down below them, that will be a lower low on the daily chart, which will be a bearish development, and we will likely have the full bear trend if we do see that price action. So the bulls need ARKK to close back above 120 to fight off the bear market. On the VIX, we continue to see fear leaving the market with the VIX getting crushed down about 7.5% today. The VIX is back below all the moving averages, and it does look like the VIX is well on its way to close the gap at 15.7. So look for that price action because right now the VIX is below 20 and below 18.2, which does favor all-time highs, which is exactly what we're seeing across the market. We see the S&P and the NASDAQ closing at brand new all-time highs as we see the VIX getting crushed. So remember, low VIX is low fear, which favors all-time highs. If we see the VIX spiking back above 20, that will tell us to look for another pullback, but above 23 will be a stock market correction. So right now the VIX is telling us new all-time highs and to respect this bull market. On Bitcoin, we're currently up about 0.25% and we're getting very close to that price target at 51,000. Remember, it's very likely Bitcoin gets to 51,000 before it sees a pullback, and we still do have a very strong bull trend going into that resistance. If Bitcoin closes above 51,000, we could easily start to run back to the 60,000 range, which is flirting with all-time highs. So as long as we have the full bull trend in Bitcoin, I want you to remain bullish. However, be cautious at resistance at 51,000, and our critical support level continues to climb at that 20 simple moving average, which is just below 46,000. So we still do have strong support around 45 to 46,000, but do respect that resistance level just above, and we need to break above that level to start running back to 60,000. If we break below the 20 simple moving average, we could come back down to the 50 EMA, which is right around 42,000. On Amazon stock, we were up over 2% today, and we finally see this dead cat bouncing. It's been a long time coming, but eventually a dead cat will bounce. It just depends on how hard you throw it at the ground. So we see Amazon bouncing off of that support level at 31.75 and finally closing back above the 5 EMA, which did allow the 5 EMA to lose the negative slope. However, we're still finding resistance exactly where you would expect to find it at that 32.80 resistance level. If we can see Amazon getting back above that resistance, we could retest resistance at our 20 simple moving average, which is going to be just below 33.40. Amazon needs to get back over the 50 EMA, which is right around that 3,400 resistance, to start trying to close the gap at 35.80. So Amazon is still just a dead cat bounce, so do respect the fact that it is still in a full bear trend with price action below 3 of our 4 moving averages. The price action needs to start closing back above 3,400 before we can get overly bullish on Amazon. However, if you're in it for the long term, these are very low prices to accumulate at, knowing that we're very likely eventually going to fill that gap at 35.80. So if you're a long-term investor or you don't mind a long-term swing trade, these are still good buying opportunities, but in the short term, you do have to respect the fact that this is just a dead cat bounce. Watch for support at 32.08, and below that, you're looking for support at 31.36. On Tesla stock, we had a bullish day going up 3.83% today and starting to close the gap above. We still have a small gap that won't close until we get to 714.5, so watch that resistance level closely because it's very likely we close that gap as soon as tomorrow. To the upside, we have another gap to fill at 732, and above that, we have a price target at 765. To the downside, we have strong support right around 692, and we're very close to regaining the full bull trend if the price action can stay above the 20 simple moving average. So watch for critical support at 692, and below that, it's going to be the 50 EMA at 674. If we do break back below the 50 EMA, Tesla will start looking like it's breaking down, But right now, Tesla's price action is looking very bullish. We see Tesla going up on increasing volume as it's breaking back over a positive sloping 20 simple moving average. So look for that gap close above at 714 and the gap close at 732 as our next possible price targets in the very near future. On Apple stock, we were up over 1% today, and we see Apple holding on to that full bull trend with price action above all the moving averages. We're back over 149, so look for a retest of the previous all-time high right around 151. Our price target on Apple, as long as we have the full bull trend, is still 156, so look for the price action to continue to push higher as long as we have the bullish trend. Critical support will be 147, and below that we could start to look like Apple is rolling over with support at 145, 143, and below that we're looking for the gap close at 137. On the financial sector, we were up 0.82% today with bullish price action and a bullish trend, so the financial sector looks like it's going to remain in a bull market. The industrial sector was up 0.82% today, back over the 50 EMA and fighting to regain the bull trend. The healthcare sector was flat on the day, only going up 0.04%, but we still have price action over a positive sloping 5 EMA, and we still have a very strong bull trend. The energy sector had a strong bounce today, going up 3.75% and closing back over the 5 EMA. We're still in a bear market on the energy sector, so it's going to try to fight back above the 50 EMA to reverse the bearish trend. So jumping back over to the S&P 500, look for that next strong resistance level at 449 to 450. Remember that you're still in a bull market because you still have a bull trend and you still have very strong bullish price action, so you still need to be objective and you still need to be a bull in this bull market. You need to be cautious the higher we go, but the easiest way to play this market is to sell as the market goes higher and get ready to buy off strong support levels during the dip. Eventually, we will see a stock market correction, but we're just not there yet because this market is still going higher on incredibly strong conviction of buyers of the dip. That's what you see in a strong bull market, is you see people not hesitating to buy the dip, and you just continue to see the bull market climbing higher. So I can't stress it enough that above 449, 450, SPY looks like it's heading to 460, and this is just not a market you want to try to call a top in. It could stay irrational far longer than you can remain solvent, and you're just going against the trend if you're trying to call a top in this bull market. So stay objective and watch the critical support and resistance levels and continue to protect yourself to the downside as we roll into these resistance levels. Also, don't forget I have my own trade alert service called BANC Trade Alerts that only trades TQQQs. It's very simple to follow and it does well in all market conditions, but exceptionally well in volatile markets. I'm running a 50% off promo code for your first month, so now is the best time to try out BANC Trade Alerts. You can find out all of the details on how to join in the description below. I also have the Stocks Channel Discord where I do intraday updates and analysis to help you navigate this market. If you're interested in joining the Discord trading community, you can find out how to join by clicking on the link in the description. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you're crushing this market. And as always, I will see you in the next episode.